Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. This is Cola, and I'm with Jack and Walker. Make sure I said your names properly. Got to make sure I'm saying names properly. Before
don't leave meeting.
we probably exposed my name so many times, but anyways, fun fact. So, did you know that Charles Darwin brought back home a 5-year-old tortoise, and that tortoise was bought by Steve Irwin, and that thing lived to 176 years old.
Is it endangered?
Probably now, but he brought a I think it's a Galapagos tortoise, but basically it was owned by Charles Darwin, and Steve Irwin bought it. But it died in 2006.
So yeah, probably endangered.
Yeah, it's probably the last of its kind.
It's not his problem anymore.
Holy, that's crazy how like a tortoise like that can live that long, right?
Yeah,
it's crazy. Sylvester Stallone has turtles. That his first movie Rocky, he kept it, and it's still alive to this day.
What's the name of the turtles? Adrian.
Probably, I don't know, but yeah, I've been on this like turtle and tortoise facts kind of thing. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Turtle tortoise facts.
Yeah.
Cool.
Jack,
what you got, Jack?
All right, I'll go. So, fun fact, one of the reasons Coca-Cola was invented was to help Civil War veterans overcome an addiction to morphine. So, Coca-Cola, back when it was first invented, was used as a medicine for a lot of different things, and it had a lot of things that we would find illegal nowadays, like cocaine.
Yeah, I'm like, wasn't there cocaine in there?
Yeah. And so they use coke to try to cure morphine addiction by filling it with cocaine. So I don't know if that's a win-win.
Same thing with Dr. Pepper too. So
yeah.
Was there actual pepper?
No, not actually. I mean, it was meant to be like a cure-all, right? A cure-all for everything that people were sick of. So Dr. Pepper was kind of like the thing, right? But I'm not sure who's older, Dr. Pepper or Coca-Cola.
Cool.
What about you, Walker?
Let me see what I got. Let's see. Walt Disney was truly a genius of his time, because he managed to make his parks self-sufficient in terms of waste by slowly observing the park patrons as they moved around through his theme parks. And he watched them after they got like candy bars and consumables from like different shops. He watched how far they walked and started stationing their trash cans at those intervals to reduce all the waste inside of his parks.
So those trash bins are placed at the right moment.
Yeah. So he watched people and watched how long it took for them to consume like a candy bar or something, and then afterwards he would see where they would stop, and then where the trash would end up. And then you would just be like, all right, let's put a trash can there.
Yeah. Nowadays you can do that all with computers and whatnot and cameras, but back in those days they didn't have any planning or think of any planning like that.
Excel was still early.
Yeah. No spreadsheets, no maps to figure things out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've been picking up on a lot of different Excel skills like recently too. So it's actually been real nice because I learned to become a bit more of an expert in my field. Speaking of expertise, we're gonna move on to our next. We're gonna move on to our next topic for the week. What is our expertise outside of just our daily lives, or within our daily lives, actually?
It's it always when we do it transition, it always sounds like you're selling a commercial or selling a product. Speaking, blah blah blah. Have you subscribed to this service?
Speaking of Dr. Pepper, today's sponsor.
Dr.
Yeah.
Pepper.
Some of those YouTubers, when they slide into the advertisements, are pretty slick about it.
Or they just completely cut away and just do a separate segment about it.
Yeah, because they always do it in the middle of the bit when you get addicted to, or get addicted to watching it, and then they skip over to the next one.
Yeah, that's why they have to stick it in there instead of
Yeah.
like having it be like, oh, I can just skip this part.
Yeah, we should get a sponsor, but we should pick a good sponsor.
Hopefully we get a good sponsor. Anyways, my expertise, I think before I became interested in television broadcasting, I wanted to be an entomologist. It's a person who studies bugs. But growing up, I used to read all the bug books. And I used to be out in those outside catching grasshoppers, butterflies, whatever I can get my hands on. But yeah. The craziest thing I've caught was probably I want to say a praying mantis.
Mhm.
Because normally,
I've been watching.
was that?
I've been watching a lot of those actually. The praying mantis documentaries. It's pretty interesting.
You can just buy them at apparently they sell them at gardening centers. So you can buy praying mantis eggs and you put it in your garden, they all hatch and then they'll eat whatever pests you have.
So they're like exterminators.
Mhm.
They fill the same role as spiders then? Why not just
Spiders,
use that?
a lot more people are afraid of spiders.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess praying mantises aren't as creepy.
They're not as creepy, but if you're like,
It's praying.
if you're not opening like a spider sack and stuff that is like flying out, I don't think people are gonna be excited about that. But yeah, but spiders are very helpful. I think people should know that they're not creepy
Yeah.
at all.
It's a repeat statement, but they're actually more good than harmful. So typically they don't just aggressively bite anyone. They're more afraid of you than you are of them. But the automatic response is just to kill those things. But if you see, your friendly neighborhood spider just kind of hanging around, best thing to do would be shoo it on its way. You want to get out of your house and get out of your house, but also know that chances are they're not going to survive outside.
What'd you say, Walker? About outside?
Oh, well, they typically won't survive outside because like you kind of remove them from the environment that they're used to.
Oh, well, I thought they would build up their own web and stuff all over again.
Nah,
No.
man, they're just like people. They can't move somewhere and start a new life, get a new job and shit. They gotta apply first.
They're probably going to be bussing in on some other spider's territory then.
Possibly. Was that the stuff you studied, Cola?
No, I didn't study that in. I didn't study that in college.
Clearly, that expertise didn't go far.
I didn't study it when I went to college or something like that, but I mean, I did have a pet scorpion.
What?
Pet tarantula, yeah. Oh yeah.
When was this?
This was when I was in high school. So I had a
Well, certainly
scorpion.
wasn't when I knew you.
Yeah, scorpion, tarantulas. But yeah, we used to get them. I used to get them all the time, right?
As roommates?
Huh?
As roommates?
No, no, just, just having them in my room and stuff like that. Because that's the only thing that you can probably keep insects in your apartment and not have, the requirements are not, very high for it. As long as it's a dark room, a little bit humid, and stuff like that, they can live. They can live without lighting conditions and all the stuff they can need for, other pets. But yeah, I was never afraid. I used to hold them, everything.
Oh,
And even when I was watching Joe Rogan Fear Factor and stuff, when they were eating the bugs and stuff like that, I was like, oh, that's harmless. Like they eat that in other countries. That's nothing. Right.
Actually, nowadays there's a, what is it called? Cricket powder, where
Oh, cricket
basically
powder protein. Yeah.
crickets they just grind up and then they use that as a protein source, and that's actually being promoted as a way to get protein that's more, I guess, safer, or not safer, but more sustainable.
Sustainable. Yeah. It
wow.
takes less effort to grow crickets and stuff like that and get protein, right? They're packed with protein compared to a cow.
Yeah,
So,
when I tried it, and it doesn't taste like anything really. And I heard that for some people, eating like fried bugs is like eating potato chips. So, and maybe you can take the cricket powder and then make it into like some kind of chip or snack, and it'll be more palatable for people to
Yeah, I mean,
put on that.
just don't keep it in its original form, and I think it should be fine. Honestly,
just make a burger.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, like I think a lot of foods like that. No one wants to like see a fried whole chicken with its head and everything.
Right.
And some people are grossed out about eating like some of the parts of the animals that look like the animal, like the head or the feet or the eyeball.
do you guys ever get turned off by the food if you see like its original, like?
No,
form?
I'm so used to it. I mean, growing up as a kid, I used to pluck the feathers off the chicken. So
Mm.
so yeah, and see it get killed and everything. So I'm not like I'm used to it. Right.
Mm. So would you eat the weirder parts of the animals too?
Yeah. Chitlins, chicken feet, eyeballs of something, liver,
Mm.
kidney.
Yeah, that's stuff I can't do. I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's just
Gizzards, you don't like gizzards?
I would try it, but I'd have to process it or something. If you go to like, I think there's a place close to me that has all these different types of chicken skewers. It's called the Yakitori Bar. They serve like chicken intestines and stuff, but it's been chopped up and processed so that it's on a skewer and it doesn't look like it's, in original form. It's part of
Yeah.
its original.
There's a place in the Bay Area where they serve mountain lion meat. You guys heard that one?
Okay.
It's a
Isn't
yakitori
that-
place. It's a yakitori place.
Isn't mountain lion meat like illegal or something?
Not this place.
Mm. Okay. Well, I mean, it's like even in Korea, they can serve you dog, but I think the regulations aren't 100% on those, so they could be serving you roadkill for all you know. So I mean,
Yeah.
hey,
Protein is protein.
If you go on YouTube and then just look up the types of food hunters like hunt for and catch and eat, they'll eat all kinds of stuff. Squirrels, bears, even wolves. So that's like close enough to dogs.
oh dude, I was watching some YouTube videos. I've never seen well, there are eagles that can hunt wolves. Like just straight up carry wolves off.
Are these the eagles that like knock the animals off the cliff
I don't know.
and then
That's the thing.
they wait for they knock them off and then they stumble onto the ground and they just fucking shatter
Yeah,
their brains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Because then they do that with turtles and stuff. They pick them up and just drop them out of like an amazing height, so it just cracks open the shell. It's like I'm not sure if they do like I'm not sure if they do the same thing with like larger creatures. So that's the thing. But it was
I've
just
s-
crazy just
I've
to
seen
see
them
like
do.
a whole like an eagle carry off like a whole wolf. Like
I've seen the eagles knock off goats, those mountain goats. They knock them off the cliff and then they fucking they eat the aftermath. Crazy,
mm,
crazy,
yeah. I mean,
crazy.
you know, that's the thing. It's just like how much does an eagle discriminate against like what it can and can't eat?
Basically, whatever it can find, it'll try to hunt. If
Yeah.
it's small enough.
Because vultures don't care; they'll just eat whatever's dead. But oh, okay. So bug expertise. What else do you got? What do you got? What else do you have in terms of that? What were you mostly interested in?
When
And
you
how
mean
did you come across this hobby, this
I
passion?
don't, I don't, I really don't know, but it's always fascinating to like, I was interested in like catching things, right? And bugs was like one of them,
Mm.
right? But then that's the only thing that got me to like start reading. It's like all these bug books. Oh man, it's the best. It's the
Cola
best.
was bitten by a radioactive butterfly.
Really the best. They got me all reading. I got to study up on this to see what powers I got. Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
dude. Oh, go ahead.
the other thing was horror movies. I watch a lot of horror movies, even the bad ones, the good and the bad.
So, like the psychological scary horror movies, or like the slasher type.
I think
horror
all of them. But I do like my like ghosts and uh ghosts and like horror and alien stuff. Oh, I love those.
Which genre and era do you think did it best?
I think the 80s and 90s did it best. Because now all the horror and stuff is more like it's gore, it's gory stuff. Um, but yeah, like I don't think anyone can beat Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers,
I think
Jason
some of them were
Voorhees.
pretty gory though. Some of those horror movies from the 80s and 90s are pretty gory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they made a good effect of it at the time, and the ones that I would think about are the ghost ones that they did too. It's just graphically, they're lacking in comparison to today, but also some of today's is still not that good either.
And then I think also that the 80s and 90s also created the zombie genres too. So that came in also in that era too. So that's when it was invented. So
Oh shit. So how did you come into this? How did you come into this expertise?
only because I wanted to make movies, and one of them was to make horror movies. And I used to watch a lot of horror movies as a kid because my family never ever heard of regular movies. It's always been horror movies, so it's not like whatever we could find at Blockbuster, we were watching it.
Okay.
And if it was good, we'll call people over to come and watch it.
Okay. So instead of the Brave Little Toaster, they're just like, no, just watch Friday the 13th. Everyone loves Friday. Everyone loves Fridays.
Friday 13th, Child's Play. Oh my god. I just realized like how much like it's how cheaply they were made. I mean, watching it now is like, oh man, this is shitty acting, shitty graphics, shitty everything. But yeah, it's ridiculous.
Actually, horror movies are one of the movies that are known to be small on budget, but they
make a lot of money.
money. because it's horror. You're just there to get the fear. There's not
Well,
too many special effects that you can put in it.
yeah.
Or you
and
could do a horror movie with low amount of special effects.
Mhm. It takes a lot to actually get the audience engaged, and typically horror hits that mark a lot quicker than most other movies. All right, so
Yeah,
what you got, Jack? Okay.
The actors are. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say that the actors are no names.
Sometimes before the numbers.
Chris Hemsworth was in what, the new Cabin in the Woods or whatever.
Yeah, before he got with Store.
Yeah, but once you make a good horror movie, then it has like 10 sequels. They're like what, unlike the 10th iteration of Halloween or something like that, and Friday the 13th and all that.
I think it's over, right? I think it's over, right? There's no more Halloween. I bet they killed Michael Myers like 20 times.
They're like, you know what, we should just stop having this holiday.
They had the whole community beaten up on Michael Myers.
Everyone's armed with street justice at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. They were chasing it, and Michael Myers was running around looking for it. He was afraid of getting canceled.
That's how you beat Michael Myers. It was cancel culture.
He only attacks white people.
He only put up one tweet, and then that was it. That was it.
They got him.
That itself was a true horror. How much the public didn't let that shit go.
He can go around and kill other people at once, but he can't be making anti-gay comments on Twitter. Anyways, Jack, what do you got for us?
All right. So, like, when you said that you wanted to, horror was your expertise because you wanted to make movies.
Right.
My expertise is, I could probably say, video games, because I wanted to make my own video games. Growing up, playing a lot of Nintendo, a lot of Game Boy. So I was pretty much a pretty geeky kid. It kind of led me down the path to get into software engineering because I wanted to make my own video games, but realized that the video game industry was pretty shitty. So I ended up just using all those skills on for doing engineering stuff. But going back to video games, yeah, definitely a fan of a lot of different genres of video games. Started off with platformers with Mario and stuff, but then got into a lot more computers and role-playing games, both on the console and on the PC.
So your expertise is it more in the coding aspect of it, or development aspect of it, or in the actual engagement aspect, like playing it?
Probably playing it, and also knowing some of the history around video games. It's a little bit it's pretty interesting. Like, for example, I can give you a bunch of interesting facts about different video game genres and RPGs, like Final Fantasy. The reason why it's called Final Fantasy was it was supposed to be the last game that Square Soft at the time was supposed to make, but then that sold a lot, so they just kept the name Final Fantasy.
And the Fantasy 12, 14, 14R. What the?
13, 13.2, 13X3.
Yep. Or like 13.4 Side Story or Kingdom Hearts, and there are all those sequel names and stuff. But yeah, playing video games, although nowadays it's hard to find the time. I do still try to keep up with some of the video game news out there and try to at least play something different or new every now and then.
What's your favorite kind then?
Wait, Cola or
What
Go ahead,
what game
Cola.
are
Or
you
what-
what game are you stuck on now?
stuck on now? Um, let's see. I'm just trying to get through my backlog at the moment. I'm playing this one game on the PC called Wasteland 3. It's an RPG. Um, going through that, and then I'm also playing a game on my iPad that I play every now and then just to kill time, called Slay the Spire. Have you guys seen that game?
No, I've never
So
heard of it.
Slay the Spire is basically a roguelike game where every new run of the game is a new game. And so if you die, then you you have to like start over.
Oh, it's
But
like
it's
Dead Cells.
basically yeah, but it's basically a deck building game. So it's kind of like, have you ever played Magic? It's a video game where you play this card base. You use these cards to attack and defend against different enemies, and you have to go through this dungeon and beat the boss.
No, I
Yeah, it's
haven't
pretty
heard
fun.
of it.
Yeah, Slay the Spire. You can get it on all different consoles, and I think on
I love
iPads.
that part. I love that part.
Yeah.
I-
Nowadays, it looks like most of the game companies are sort of consolidating with how many game companies are emerging and stuff like that.
I kind of like it. Like whatever platform that you have, you can probably get that game on that platform that you currently have, which I
Yeah.
like. I like if you're PC, there's probably a game on that you can play. Or if you're on your Switch, definitely you
Yeah.
can find that. I think.
Even now, Sony's releasing older games, older PlayStation games on the PC. I think you can get God of War and Horizon, and I think they're gonna eventually release Uncharted and the first Last of Us in the future. Yeah,
That was a PS3 exclusive, right?
yeah, it was PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 exclusive, but they're opening up their exclusive games to PC nowadays. Well, it's not going to be released at the same time. It's probably going to be released maybe 2-3 years later.
Yeah. I think it's probably because they might make more money on the backlog. Why not just monetize it, right?
Yeah, try to monetize as much as possible.
Yeah.
Cool. What about you, Walker, since we only got so much time left?
Well, I mean, I got a lot of action going on in my background. I have two cats kind of like roughhousing right now.
Oh.
Uh, yeah, I don't know if you. It's I have a blurry background set up, but then you can see kind of the action kind of like flipping
They're
around.
doing it.
But yeah. Anyways, my big one is pretty much just animals, just because I've been going around. I've been going up around them all my life. I've been eating them all my life, and but it's just learning how to take care of the more not just the general ones, but also the more exotic ones. My dad's pretty much right now he's farming like pheasants. So I mean they recently hatched like 3 eggs. So they're gonna hatch like 2 more. But he's just that level of doing things in the family, like just from the bottom up, taught me a lot about how to just farm animals and farm exotics. So being able to breed like lizards, bearded dragons was one of them. That was one of my first experiences with like have actually like hatching eggs of my own like pet. So I mean I thought that was like really cool to see, because I also didn't realize that bearded dragons will hump the females to death.
Oh shit.
So yeah, because when the female gives birth or lays the eggs, right, then they lose a lot of their fat, and then immediately after, the male just goes back and starts doing it again, and then they get pregnant again, and then like pretty much the female like just keeps doing it until she loses all of her strength. So
So you had to separate them.
yeah, pretty much. One of them that I had, he did breed it to death. So I was like, oh wow, I did not see that coming.
Death by Snoo.
Yep, death by snoo snoo, man.
Would you ever keep a snake?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what kind of snake. Because if it's one that poses a potential threat, like a real threat, then I'd have to second guess myself a little bit. I wouldn't mind keeping it, but it's just like, I also have to think about the level of care that has to go into it. Like if I were to get like a Burmese python, the shit grows to be like 20 feet. I think I feel like rabbits and shit, or something larger, like every like week. Then it's just like there might be things that just put a bit more of a strain on like my daily life, you know. But yeah, it was just learning how to do that. I learned how to raise like baby cockatiels, parakeets from a hatchling, and then just like learning to like hand feed and hand raise them from the bottom up. We I was one of the few people where I worked at this pet store where I was pretty much like one of the experts to just hand feed the baby birds that were there. So
Like, how did they feed the birds?
because because parents usually like vomit into the baby, so I did it too. No, no, it was
I can imagine Walker just like,
y'all want some McDonald's? Y'all want some Jack in the Box, man? Everyone loves Jack in the Box. No, we had like mixtures and stuff, and then we mixed the food for the birds. It had to be a specific temperature, like 98.3 or whatever, and then we had to make sure that like the food was properly mixed with no hot spots in it, and then you would feed the babies until like the little chin crop grows, and then that's pretty much like their feeding. But you had to do it in a really specific way that it's just like, okay, well, you don't want to kill them. So these are all things I learned from home before I actually took it into a pet store. And yeah, same thing with caring for like a bunch of like newborn lizards too. It was just like, okay, well, how am I supposed to deal with this? So there was a lot of research that went into it, and it was a lot of trial and error because when you're inexperienced, obviously you don't realize that the rules of nature are basic survival. So it's just for from omnivorous animals, it's even sometimes just like, well, you gotta fucking eat. There's like you're in a tank full of like food supply. So I mean, if you run out of like your regular food, then the next thing you go after is your siblings. So those, yeah, pretty much. So it's learning a lot of that balance and just having. I do have a lot of respect for those who committed and turned that into like full-time jobs. But my expertise like really just lied in just raising the animals and just working with their certain conditions and whatnot. So I mean, yeah, it was a major trip because I didn't realize at the time that it was something that was considered more of an expertise in until like way later on when I started noticing that there's these bird and reptile shows and exotic shows that just are like more prominent in our area.
I should call you Walker Doolittle.
Walker Doolittle.
How many animals total now? Walker,
Guys,
I know that list
Um,
is growing all the time.
yeah. Well, we had a chameleon egg that was that we were trying to hatch, but it actually recently didn't it didn't go through. So they're sending us another one for free. So
Oh,
we're yeah. So we're in the middle of trying to incubate a panther chameleon.
Ooh. Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty fun. Pretty cool stuff. And it's just something low key for us to take care of. And also just like not something that we have to necessarily like panic over or anything. But this will be like a newer experience for us because we never had a chameleon before. So
Nice.
but dealing with what, 4 cats, 4 dogs, sulcata tortoise, you know, yeah. And again, the list will be ever growing because it just depends on what happens to show up and what happens to be the thing that we're interested in. But we do go to like my wife and I do go to bird and reptile shows fairly regularly. It's pretty fun.
You guys think about like eventually maybe opening a pet store or doing something related to animals like breeding or something like that?
I mean, I would consider more the animal clinic, but you know, it's just it's more like it's more of a devotion of time, really. But who knows? Like, only the future will tell. And with that, guys, that's the end of our episode for this week. This is Walker with Cola, Jack, and a whole lot of black. And we out.
Taking that. All right, guys.
Hey.
All right, guys. I'm out. I'm gonna eat dinner.